Welcome everyone to the first meeting of our new center, to our organizational meeting. Before you will have a stack of papers. We will get through them. A few things to note for the new folks: there is a new hire packet that needs to be turned into Tammy Hendrickson. She's in my office but does the HR payroll stuff, so turn that stack of papers into her. It's put together with a few notes from her. If you have any questions, feel free to call her. There's also a county supervisor contact information form, so if you can complete that and give that back to me before you leave tonight, that's what we will use to update all of our official directories, website information, all that stuff. So you have that packet before you. And then you also have your official oath, which we will go over here in a second. So keep those papers close. We will go through some of them tonight, not all of them, but there's also a Robert's Rules of Order book, which is super fascinating to read. So look through that. It's a nice guide, actually. It's very nice to have that. And then we will continue on with the agenda. So as our board rules say, until we name a county board chair, yours truly, the county clerk, will pro tem for the organizational meeting. So we're going to start with roll call. So I will go through, call your names, and then say present or here. Carroll? Here. Miller?
Here.
Brewer?
Here.
Kramer?
Here.
McKee?
Here.
Renish?
Here.
Hendricks?
Here.
Gill?
Here.
Glassburner?
Here.
Hardwick?
Here.
Woodhouse?
Here.
Turk?
Here.
Cosgrove?
Here.
Frank?
Here.
Severson?
Present.
Williamson?
Here.
Cooey?
Here.
Fleming?
Here.
Brookins?
Here.
And McGuire?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, 20 and 21 present. So the next thing we will do is Pastor Mike Renninger's here to lead the invocation, so if you can all rise.
All right, usually there's a podium, so I'll just pray from here. Yeah. Lord, we thank you for this, especially all these new members, and we pray that there would be favor upon them and everybody that's on the board. We ask that you be honored in this meeting, that you would give direction and wisdom to those involved. We pray your blessing on this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Now I'll ask you all to stand. Face this direction, face me, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next thing on the list is for me to confirm that the meeting has been noticed per open meeting laws and we are in compliance of that. So this meeting was posted on the county's website as well as on the board downstairs. So hopefully you've all had a chance to see that. Next item on the list is for you all to take the oath of office. So you will have your official oath that's in front of you, and then you also have the orange certificate of nomination or election. That's for you to keep and frame and put in your wall in your house somewhere. But what I will ask you to do is all of you raise your right hand. We're going to do this together. So repeat after me. I, and state your name. Having been elected or appointed to the office of County Board Supervisor in your district,
The office of County Board Supervisor, District 13,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof, swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God. All right, so thank you all very much. You will all need to sign this, and you need to give this to me before you leave. This is a very important document for us to have on file. So if you can all do that, I will have myself or Candace will collect them when we distribute ballots here in a little bit. So I'll give you all a moment to sign those.
Is it a full moon? You won't be reading this. It's a full moon.
All right. Everyone good to go? Okay, so then let's get back to the agenda. Before you have a 27-point agenda. I will take a motion to approve the agenda. First by Chad Cosgrove. Is there a second? Second by Bob Frank. I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have an agenda. Thank you all. Number 8 on that agenda then is to your election of the county board chairperson. So as noted, I will serve as the chair for this until you folks nominate a chairperson. What will happen is persons nominated for the board chair and vice chair will be allowed 10 minutes to speak and answer any questions. Voting will take place by a written secret ballot, and then myself and Attorney Wendell, Corporation Counsel, will serve as the ballot clerks. So majority of the votes of the board members present shall be necessary to elect the board chair and the vice chair. So, did you want to?
Yes, so just a quick note, you'll notice that Mr. Manning is not among you here tonight. The election in District 8 was very close, and there was in fact a recount called. Clerk Kalish did perform the recount. I was present during it and can affirm that all was done according to law, statute, procedure. However, there is a statutory right for the losing candidate to appeal the decision of the recount to the circuit court. There is a 5-day period in which she has to do that. And it arose in another situation, but I've confirmed with Andy Phillips that there is no statutory means of waiving that ability to appeal. Therefore, even if the losing candidate were to reassure us that they were not intending to appeal it to the court, we can't actually take them at that word. And so we cannot officially swear Mr. Manning in because as of this moment till Friday at 5 o'clock, the election results are not final. And so Mr. Manning's name appears on some of the ballots here. Certainly you could indicate your preference for him once he is sworn in. Again, we don't anticipate and we're not aware of any further challenges to the vote count, but just so you're aware of why that's happening like it is tonight.
Okay, so I will then open the nominations for county board chair. If you would like to nominate someone, say, or the person you want to nominate, and for that person to move forward, they would need a second. So we need a first and a second for nomination. So I will ask, does anyone wish to nominate one of your fellows for county board chair? Greenwich?
I would nominate Marty Brewer for chair.
And I will second.
Okay, so I have Marty Brewer nomination, a first by Ken Renish, a second by Sandy Kramer. Are there any other nominations for county board chair? Steve Williamson.
I would nominate Dave Turk.
I'll second it.
Second by Julie Fleming. So we have a nomination for Dave Turk with the first by Steve Williamson and a second by Julie Fleming. Are there any other nominations for county board chair? Any other nominations for county board chair? I'll ask one last time. Any other nominations for county board chair? All right, so hearing none, I will close nominations for county board chair. So at this point, we have Marty Brewer that's been nominated, and we have David Turk that's been nominated. So I will allow those to speak in the order in which they were nominated. So Mr. Brewer, if you would like to address everyone, we will give you
Yes, thank you.
10 minutes,
Thank
sir.
you, Clerk Kalish. It will not take 10 minutes.
Okay.
I want to be your chair. I want to continue being the chair. We've done a lot in the last 4 years that I've been the chair. We started with one administrator. We're now we have a different administrator. And it's a difference that I appreciate. We have a great administrator. She's well on her way to bringing our county into the 21st century. We've had a friend of mine would talk in terms of a sea change. We've had a sea change in the county. We've gone from the old committee structure, the way of running things. That was the way of the county for 100 years, 150 years. But we recently, and 4 years ago, we embarked on the administrative form of government. It changes the role of the county board in a way that makes us more policymakers rather than doers. We don't have to do the research. We have staff who will bring us information and let us make policy decisions. And that is the way that the county ought to run, and it is running that way. The county is on an upswing, and the way that I can tell that is we've had very, very, very good success lately in filling empty positions. For a long time, we could not fill certain positions at the county. One was the, in zoning, for instance. We've taken care of that. In finance, we've taken care of that. We've hired a human resource generalist, so we've taken care of that. So we're on the upswing. People see Richland County as entering the modern age, if you will, and it's a good place to work. It's a good place to be. We love this county. We know the good things about it, and we've got to get that word out to people and bring them in here, turn them upside down, shake them till all their money falls out, like Saw County does. So thank you. I would appreciate your vote. I don't want you to change horses in midstream.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. And Mr. Turk. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't disagree with most of what Marty said. We've definitely been making good change. This is the start of my 7th term on the board. It's changed an awful lot in that time. When I was first elected, I was actually the youngest person on the board, and it wasn't by a very small margin. It was by a pretty good sized margin. And now I believe I'm the longest serving member on the board. So things have changed. Lots has changed about the way we structure the county, the way we do business. It's good to see new faces on the board, and I welcome you all, and thank you for your willingness to serve. One of the priorities I have is board training. We've been, as Marty said, changing the way we do business, and I think it's important for all of us, not just newer board members, but to get some good training on the role of a board member in the administrative form of government. And also training on how the county works, and that's especially important for the newer folks. You may not be familiar with every department of the county. Even some of us who've been on the board for a while aren't familiar with every single department of the county. And so getting good information to board members to help us understand the decisions we have to make and be able to make educated and informed decisions when the time comes, I think is a big priority. I want to continue moving us forward in that direction of change. We, as Marty had said, are functioning under a new structure and a new set of board rules starting with this session. When we made that change, it was a bit of a struggle, but I think we need to embrace that and give it a good chance to work, and about a year from now, give an honest examination to see if it has been working. And if it hasn't been working as good as we thought, to take a look at it and see, okay, what do we need to change? It's a good direction we've been moving in. I referred to it in the past as steps in a direction. I want to keep making those steps in that direction. And I really want to see that we're able to operate in this new model and operate efficiently, because we have some challenges coming up. We're still working on a radio tower project that needs to get completed. We survived a budget scare a couple of terms ago. It's better now, but we need to be vigilant to make sure we don't get in that shape again. We have the campus property to deal with. We're working on an assessment of that property now and need to figure out what we're going to do, and that has a significant financial stake for the county to figure that out. And at some point, we've got to take a look at this building, this courthouse complex, and jail, and figure out, okay, what are we going to do about this moving forward? Because the clock is ticking on that, as far as especially the jail, where the state will continue to give us permission to operate it as it is. So there are some big challenges. I think having a well-functioning board will be important to address those challenges. I'm running for chair because I want to see the board stay focused. Stay focused on the future, keep moving forward, operate efficiently, and do the best we can for the citizens of the county. And not just for the citizens of the county, but we have some great department heads and wonderful county employees that I want to make sure the board supports, gives them all the tools they need to be able to do the best job they can. It's been wonderful to see, some of the new department heads and department staff all working together on some projects. I want to keep that moving forward. The county is a big team, so to speak. I want to make sure we all stay together as a team and keep moving that environment forward. And I would ask for your support for board chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. So both candidates have had time to address all of you on why they would like to run for board. I will now distribute a ballot for the board, county board chairperson. So to vote for your candidate of choice, write the name of the candidate in this box here. So your choices are Mr. Marty Brewer or Mr. David Turk. So we will pass these out, and we will trade you a ballot for your oath of office. So, I'll follow you and grab them.
I'll do that and grab it.
Yes.
We'll hide you. Gotcha, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Candidate.
Mr. McGuire.
Hello, how are you tonight?
I have all your oaths. Good job, guys. Thanks. So when you voted your ballot, you can just fold it in half. We'll come back around and collect them, and then Attorney Wendell and I will serve as ballot. Yeah, that's that. Yes. Oh.
I know it.
Getting dizzy.
Oh, that's a typo.
Okay, that makes them up, Candace.
Yeah, my best makes me because I grabbed them, so they're very well.
Hey, right ahead. Yep. For Turk? 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 Brewer? Brewer? Brewer?
Someone will be like, see, you will.
Brewer? Tally?
6 right here?
It's okay, I fortunately more than what that means.
Tally? Brewer? 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 Sure. Turk? Turk?
So they get $1 on it.
Turk? Tally? Turk?
No, or he met.
So I have
We
9,
never seen the dollar amount.
11 for the Turk.
Well, how much was in the original? And why wasn't the project in it? Yeah, it's just for, even though we pay it to a contractor.
Okay, I agree with this staff.
Yeah, now. And with the lease agreement.
I agree. Okay, so the totals are as follows. Marty Brewer had 9, and Dave Turk had 11, so that equals the 20 of you that could vote. So Attorney Wendell, if you agree, I believe the folks you have chosen to be your next county board chair would be David J. Turk.
Correct.
All right, so Mr. Turk, if you'd like to come up to the front here, I will pass the gavel over to you officially.
Marty, is this you?
No, we'll just mark it.
Yes, please do.
Thank you all very much. Look forward to working with all of you as we move forward. You guys are ready? All right, so next item on the agenda will be item number 9, election of county board vice chair. And same process, we would entertain nominations, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Do we have nominations for board vice chair?
I'll nominate Steve Williamson.
Nomination by Fleming for Steve Williamson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Cosgrove. So we have Steve Williamson's name in nomination. Are there other nominations for county board vice chair? Mr. McKee?
Marty Brewer.
Marty Brewer. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Crane. Any other nominations for county board vice chair? Mr.
I
Black.
move that we close the
We have a motion to close nominations.
So that's called out 3 times, right?
You don't have to, actually.
No, okay.
I like to, but it's
And we used
not
to do that.
required.
Wisconsin recording.
So we do have a motion to close nominations. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. Reddish to close nominations.
Discussion?
Okay, discussion on closing nominations. Otherwise, all in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nominations are closed. The 2 candidates are Marty Brewer and Steve Williamson, and we will give them a chance to address in the order they were nominated, similar to what we did for chair, so that would be Mr. Williamson who would have a chance to speak first.
Starting my 5th term here, Mr. Cooley and I and Mr. Severson were just discussing, we're starting to become some, and Mr. Cosgrove as well, some of the senior members behind David and Marty. But, yeah, so I was gonna run for chair, but time-wise, I don't have the time. I think I have the time, plan on having the time to be your vice chair. So, a lot of projects, like Dave said, we've got going on. I told Marty all along, we're a year behind at the campus. We're a year behind because we had a few people that didn't want to get moving with what we're doing starting this month. So hopefully we don't get that far behind somewhere. We need to get going on, finish up the radio project. This weather isn't going to help, but as you'll be voting on later tonight, the highway department's going to help with some of that project to get it accomplished, hopefully on time and on budget. So I would appreciate your vote for vice chair to support this good group. We've got a nice group of young people that are coming in, victims to the county board. So good luck.
And I would be happy to serve as vice chair. We'll continue doing the good work that Dave and I have always done together, so. And we're involved in a lot of things. We're plugged in, so let's get her done.
Distribute the ballots. That's, each candidate has a chance to speak. On your ballot, you will list either Marty Brewer or Steve Williamson as your choice for vice chair.
Gotta make sure you don't got more than one. We're on the balance, guys.
You're not on the board anymore. Working in family law. Congratulations.
I know, I fell off.
That's what I tell my clients.
I'm not the only one though.
Oh, David, sorry.
All right. Thank you.
With this
Williamson. Please. Williamson. Williamson. Kelly. Brewer. Brewer. Marty. You said Brewer? Marty, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Brewer. Brewer. Mr. Williamson. Williamson. Mr. Brewer. Tally. Mr. Williamson. Williamson. Mr. Brewer. Brewer. Mr. Williamson. Williamson. Mr. Brewer. Brewer. Mr. Williamson. 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 Kelly. Williamson. 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 Since I missed that public safety. What are the other kids? She's gonna do it. I don't think it was a guess. They got a price from somebody roughly in the town, so I was curious. All right, so our final count was 13 for Williamson and 7 for Brewer. Do you agree, Attorney Wendell? I do. Okay, so Mr. Turtle. The result is as follows: 13 Williamson, 7 Brewer.
With that, Steve Williamson is our vice chair. Congratulations, Steve. Yes. We just need to reshuffle the chairs here.
Mr. Williamson,
Yeah, keep moving. You do.
you have to join the head table now. Come to the big kids table.
That makes sense.
Yeah, very good.
That's it.
Young at heart, it makes you young at heart.
That's right. Thanks for doing for them.
Whoever just did those votes.
So we have our chair and our vice chair elected. Next item on the agenda is to elect the committee on committees. This committee on committees will be working to fill all these slots that we have to fill for committees. You each had your form to fill out for what you were interested in. All that input will be taken into account. The chair and vice chair are automatically members of committee on committees, and so we need to elect 5 at-large members from the rest of the board to serve on the committee on committees.
Ballot that will go around in which you will just put an X in the selection box next to the 5 at-large members you would like to serve on committee on committees.
So vote for 5.
Mr. Chairman, could you
Yes, sir.
explain what committee and committees will be doing a little bit more?
Sure, the committee on committees will be meeting actually tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. And we'll be going through the board member interest surveys and matching that up with available committee assignment slots to get people assigned to the committees that they will be serving on as part of the Richland County Board service. There are 5 standing committees, and then there are other committees and boards that we also appoint people to. The committee on committees will be selecting folks from those who've expressed their interest, making decisions, making recommendations then to the full board. And then the full board will ratify those at its next meeting, which is a week from today. Is that correct? So again, vote for 5. You don't have to rank them, just 5 X's.
And the chair and vice chair are already automatic members?
Chair and vice chair are
Don't count
automatic members. So,
No.
5 other ones.
One change, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We will need everyone to put their names on their ballot. The only way we can elect by secret ballot is if it's statutorily allowed, which this is not a statutorily allowed purpose.
So your name can be written anywhere.
Put your name on it. Please.
Doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna publish the results that way, but
No.
the state does not
We're not
allow us to do
publishing the
secret
results.
ballots for this purpose.
And the clerk has to hold on to these too for a period of time, correct? So it can be examined by any member of the public if they so choose.
Yes, that would be part of the official record.
Yep. And what we're gonna do is tally the votes, and the 5 highest vote getters will get those seats, is that correct?
Yeah, so we'll take like a little time to do that.
Okay. Take a short recess when you guys count.
Yes, that's great.
Okay. we'll do.
It's you, you're just Johnny on the spot over here.
Actually, I think I did 3, so there was one more. That's been election roll call. We could have some.
Why are you being this time?
I went to a small school, we had to beat that.
Oh, sure.
It is gonna take some time for them to tally these votes, so we'll take a short recess while they tally, so take like 5 minutes if you wanna get a refreshment, if you wanna talk to new board members, certainly feel free.
I
thought I was headed down the wrong road.
The results have been tallied, and the results so far are what, Mr. Kavish?
We have 16 votes for Marty Brewer. We have 14 votes for Ingrid Glassburner. We have 13 votes for Carrie Severson and 9 votes for Bob Frank. The next set of votes is the 8 votes, and that's a 3-way tie between Renish, Cosgrove, and Cooey.
So we will need to vote again. And are we voting anybody this time, or just the 3?
So Renish, Cosgrove, or Cooey. I'll say it a few more times.
One of those
Yep,
three?
so vote for
One
one
of
of
those
those,
three.
one of those 3.
Who needs spelling? Rennick or Cooley?
Sorry?
Can I put your name on it again?
Yes. Good reminder, thank you, Ken.
You hear that, Dan?
When you get the ballot, make sure you write your name on it, because again, we can't do a secret
I'm gonna write
ballot.
your name on it. I was gonna write Steve Williams' name on it, but I went to a small school, he got too many letters, couldn't spell Williams. Can you just change that to Will?
Maybe we'll figure it out.
Too many vowels for you.
Yeah. Too many.
Thank you. Sure? You want to do it one more time?
Vote for 1.
Sorry about this delay. You never make first.
It's required.
This one should go quicker, so we won't need to take a recess.
You, I don't have another one. Cosgrove is coming.
We'll see.
I'm sure you appreciate your enthusiasm, he's already won.
My name is Mike.
Usually, I call the phone with Robin, but I can, so one of us, she's the first. Yeah, they close no, there's a lot there. But it's good fun. We realize something.
I started asking actuality, I started
Oh, yeah, so here, later, really hard, like, a lot of
All right, our second ballot was successful. We do have a room. Ken Reddish will be the fifth at-large member of the Committee on Committees. Again, that committee meets tomorrow at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom. All right. Thank you all for your patience through the voting and the counting. We're on to item number 11 on our agenda, which is to approve minutes of the March 12th, March 19th, and March 25th county board meetings. Does anybody have corrections or questions on any of those meetings that were published? If not, I will declare them to be approved.
So,
We don't need a motion for that, so. Item 12, public comment. Do we have any members of the public here wanting to address the board tonight? Any members of the public online that want to address the board? All right, hearing none, we will move on with the items on our agenda. Item number 13 is a resolution allowing for requests for proposals for replacement of the existing roof of the Emergency Services Facility.
This will be resolution number 24-23. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for a request for proposals to be sought for a public works project consisting of replacing the existing roof for the western and northern roof sections of the Emergency Services Facility. Be it further resolved that the funds to pay for these services shall come from the ambulance funds 51 and 16. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the county board members of the Joint Ambulance Committee on February 21 of 2024. It also was approved by the Public Works Standing Committee on March 14th of 24 and Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on April 2nd of 2024.
Motion approved.
Motion from Mr. Reddish to approve, second from Mr. Cooey. And discussion. Amber, do you want to introduce yourself for the benefit of the new folks here?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I am Amber Birch. I am the interim service director for the Joint Ambulance, or the Richland County Ambulance Service. So we, first off, I wanted to thank you guys for, especially the new members, but also the standing members, for rising and filling these roles as county board members. We really appreciate your leadership and your direction on different matters such as these. So as far as the specifics on this particular item, so the Joint Ambulance Committee has considered repairing some of the minor spots that were identified as weaknesses in the past. And in the process of considering those repairs, we inadvertently had gotten a quote to be able to just do a full replacement for that roof. We had anticipated doing a roof replacement 2026. We have that listed in the business plan, and we anticipated it was going to cost about $95,000 at that point in time. The quote that we got back was $20,000 cheaper than that. And so considering the fact that it was cheaper at this point in time, and the recognition that we would be repairing something that we're just going to be replacing in the near future anyway, we recognized, the Joint Ambulance Committee recognized that it would be beneficial to consider putting out a request for proposals to be able to determine if this is the best time to be able to replace that roof. We have $10,000 were donated from REC when we purchased the building because, again, there were identified a couple of weak areas in that roof. It's a 20-year-old roof, 20-plus-year-old. We've got about 5 years left to that warranty, so we knew in purchasing that building that we were going to be replacing the roof in a short amount of time, which is why REC had donated funds toward that. One of the things that the Joint Ambulance Committee wants to consider in the replacement of this roof is either doing a truss or having some kind of a grade to that roof to allow for drainage rather than having the drains where everything funnels to the drains that go through the building and create potential for leaks and that kind of things. So that is the roof project in a quick nutshell. Again, the funds would be paid for out of Fund 51. In one of the coming county board meetings, we're going to be providing a presentation to you guys, kind of giving a quick snapshot of what the ambulance service is, how it's funded, that kind of thing, and explaining what the Joint Ambulance Committee is. And one of the things that we'll talk about there, but for those of you who are new to the board, the Joint Ambulance Committee is established through each of the municipalities having a representative, and that of the municipalities that we serve. That's established through an MOU, and as part of that MOU, each of those municipalities pays in a certain amount based on the per call average. And so the ambulance service has a segregated account in the county, so the funds would be coming out of that segregated account. It isn't coming from tax levy dollars or anything along those lines. I think that's important for you guys to be aware of as well at this point.
Thank you. More members with questions. Mr. Rich.
Are you getting a dual RFP, one with replace the flat and or an option of pitched?
Yeah, so in the RFP, we're going to have the ability for people to provide either of those. Yep.
Other questions? Now, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda, item number 14, a resolution amending resolution number 24-3 relating to the purchase of a used ambulance to replace the service's oldest ambulance. Mr. Gabriel.
This will be resolution number 24-24. Now therefore be it resolved that resolution number 24-3 is hereby amended by adding the following be it further resolved paragraph to the resolution. It will be added as be it further resolved that upon purchase, authority is hereby granted to make preventative maintenance repairs to said used ambulance not to exceed $15,000 to be paid from the ambulance outlay account, which is Fund 16. Be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is also being offered to you by the county board members of the Joint Ambulance Committee on November 15th of 2023 and was also approved by Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on April 2nd of 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on this resolution? Second. Motion by Mr. Cooley, second by Ms. Fleming. Discussion.
So on this item, Once again, Fund 16 is also one of the segregated accounts. So that is an account that the Joint Ambulance Committee has that is to be able to set aside funds, saving up for things like purchasing a new ambulance and then the big building maintenance projects, so that it doesn't come out of the standard operating for the ambulance service. So that's what Fund 16 is. So we had, the Joint Ambulance Committee had decided is as part of the business plan that we would, rather than purchasing brand new ambulances, which can cost well over $250,000, we would begin purchasing ambulances that can be re-chassised. So if you're familiar with ambulances, there's the part that is like the van, the truck, that kind of thing, the driving piece component of the ambulance. And then there's the patient compartment, the box. So we've begun purchasing ambulances that box can be put on a new van or truck chassis. That cuts the cost down tremendously. So rather than being $250,000, it'll cost less than roughly $100,000 potentially. So we get a longer life out of those boxes. The boxes typically are not having too much for issues unless there is damage due to incidents of sorts. So Muscadet Ambulance Service Muscadet Ambulance was replacing their unit with a brand new ambulance through grants, and we have worked through purchasing the old ambulance that was there. So that ambulance is a 2006, and the box is essentially, if you take the two ambulances that are re-chassisable, it's kind of a blend of those two truck boxes. So it makes it a lot more seamless for new members, for partners like the fire department, law enforcement, to be able to learn where things are located in that box. The truck itself is in really good working condition, which was what led the Joint Ambulance Committee to working through the purchase of that unit. As part of the conversation for purchasing that, we recognized that there would be some basic preventive maintenance things that we wanted to do. However, when we wrote the resolution initially, we forgot to include that as part of that resolution. So this is simply just a resolution to approve getting that preventive maintenance for that unit that we have already purchased. That will extend the chassis life so that we don't have to re-chassis that unit for probably a decade, hopefully.
Thank you, Amber. Any questions from the board? Questions? All those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution carries. Moving on to item number 15, a resolution approving payment of change orders for the Richland County Ambulance Service.
This will be resolution number 24-25. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following invoice for the ambulance service is hereby approved. That from Joe Daniels Construction of Madison for $12,814.70 for change orders associated with the Emergency Services Building Project. Be it further resolved that payment of this invoice shall be made from the contract services line in the ambulance account, which is Fund 51. Be it further resolved that the county clerk is hereby directed to issue county checks in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication. This is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on April 2nd of 2024.
Motion by Mr. Reddish. Do we have a second by Mr. Cosgrove?
Question.
Go ahead.
Were these change orders signed off on before they were performed, or were we billed after the fact?
So the heart of the change
I remember there were some issues going on there.
Yeah, Amber, and jump in if I'm saying anything incorrectly. Essentially, the building did not have the power supply for the air handling unit that was ordered. Because the contractor ordered this unit, they essentially tried to charge us for both the unit that we actually needed, and then also because they ordered this other unit, that separate unit. And so there was a meeting held between us, the contractor, and the architect. In reviewing the contract, it was clear that someone should have found that out prior to ordering this. They were informed that, essentially our position was that this was not our fault and we're not paying for the unit. They were receptive to that. The architect is working with the contractor to find another use for the unit. So this it's called a change order, but it actually brings the payment owed into line with the work that was actually approved.
Good explanation.
Thank you. Other questions? All those in favor of paying the change order, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Sheriff, thank you, Amber.
Thank you, guys.
Moving on, item number 16, a resolution approving the purchase of log analytics and anomaly detection service.
This will be resolution number 24-26. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of log analytics and anomaly detection services in the amount of $15,940.80. Be further resolved that the funds to carry out this resolution shall come from the 2024 MIS budget, and that this resolution shall be effective upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee. You'll note that the individuals, the way they voted are not on there because this was prepped after or before the meeting happens.
Do we have a motion on this resolution? Motion by Cosgrove, second by Williamson. And discussion?
This is software we need to properly monitor our network so that intrusion detection can be sooner identified and protect us from any possible lost data.
And for those who don't know you, Barbara, want to introduce yourself, please?
I'm Barbara Scott, I'm the IT MIS Director. I've been with the county for 28 years. And happy to be here.
And this kind of equipment is important. We have had some issues in the past, correct?
And we've had network interruptions, yes.
Any questions for Barbara? Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
so the detection, is that monitored by the staff here, or is that monitored by the company and then they report?
Both. We can log in and monitor it, and as soon as anything is anomalous from the rules that we set, alarms are sent both to our phones and to our emails, so that, as well as the staff that's monitoring at the company for which we're purchasing the service. So it's really multifaceted,
Right.
so.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you. Item number 17, a resolution to allow the Richland County Highway Department to put in roadways for the radio tower project.
This will be resolution number 24-27. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that they do authorize the Richland County Highway Department to complete the radio tower projects at the Viola and Westport sites at a cost of $228,529.61. Be it further resolved that the funds to carry out this resolution shall come from the borrowed funds for the radio tower project, which is Fund 94. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Public Safety Standing Committee on April 5 of 2024.
Motion from Supervisor Fleming. Do we have a second? Second from Mr. Frank. And discussion. Who's going to be speaking to this?
Speak to it.
Go ahead, Barb.
So the radio tower project that we have been working on for 2 years now, we are to the point where we need to install the roadways to the towers. The landowner agreements are ready to be signed by the landowners, and we need to prep the roads at 2 sites. We have Westport, which will be owned by Richland Grant, but we need to provide the roadway to that tower, and Viola, which we will be running a roadway that's parallel with the landowner's driveway, and then up to the tower site. Viola's is longer, and also we will have to do repairs to their existing blacktop driveway. These, I did talk to Josh about doing this. They have capacity at this time. Their guys are not fully overloaded with other jobs. They're in between projects, and it seems like a good use of county equipment, a good use of county staff and talent to share our resources.
Any questions? Mr. Carroll.
I was wondering if we had checked what was in the original estimate and whether there has been any contractor quotes to compare to.
We have not received quotes from other ones, but it is within the budgeted estimates that were created by True North for the project order.
I just want to know what that number was.
I can pull up the spreadsheets. I believe it was 180 for one and 34 for the other. So we're right within, right.
Thank you.
True North is the consultant we hired at the
Yes.
beginning of the project. So. Other questions? If there are none, then all in favor of this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You have adopted the resolution. Thank you. Item 18 is a resolution approving an amendment to 2024 provider contract for the Health and Human Services Department.
This will be resolution number 24-28. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the following amendment to the following contract with Mo's Transitional Living Center, with the original contract being for $49,500, amended to $79,500 due to a placement lasting longer than anticipated. Be it further resolved that the Health and Human Services Board is hereby authorized to amend any of the above contracts by not more than 15%, and that the Director of Health and Human Services Department, Ms. Tricia Clements, is hereby authorized to sign the above contract on behalf of Richland County in accordance with this resolution, and that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the County Board members of the Health and Human Services and Veteran Standing Committee on April 11 of 2024.
Thanks. We have a motion to bring it on the floor. Motion from Supervisor Glassbrenner, second from Mr. Cosgrove.
Hi.
And Tricia, do you want to introduce yourself?
I will. So I'm Trish Clements, and I am the Director of Richland County Health and Human Services. In July, I'll be there 2 years in July. So this contract, we have a young man who's a teenager that is placed there. When we originally set the contract, we set it for a lower amount in the hopes that he would be transitioning to a group home locally. We were not able to get him to the local group home until later this month, so we do need to extend the contract for him.
Any other question? Hearing no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution's adopted. Item 19, resolution approving a provider contract for 2024 for the Health and Human Services Department.
This will be resolution number 24-29. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Board to enter into the following 2024 contract. This is with Whispering Pines Custom Builders LLC of Richland Center for $50,000 to provide home modification services for families enrolled in the Children's Long-Term Support and the Behavioral Health Services Unit. Be it further resolved that the Health and Human Services Board is hereby authorized to amend the above contract by not more than 15%, and that the Director of the Health and Human Services Department, Ms. Tricia Clements, is hereby authorized to sign the above contracts on behalf of Richland County in accordance with the resolution. Being further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is once again offered to you by the County Board members of the Health and Human Services and Veteran Standing Committee on April 11 of 2024.
That's the resolution. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Cooey. And discussion, Tricia.
So the Children's Long-Term Support Program is a program that supports children who have disabilities in their families to be as independent in their homes as possible. This program allows the families to choose the provider. So the families, we have two different families that have chosen this provider for home modifications. Both households are looking to build a fence outside of their home, and the other household, one of the households, is looking to do some bathroom modifications. Due to the large amount of these modifications, it does have to be approved separately by the state in addition to us having the contract. So those individual modifications have to go to the state for the state to say, yes, this is a reasonable amount to spend and these are reasonable modifications to make.
We have questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you, Tricia. Item 20, moving into some rezoning and ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to David and Francine Ewing in the town of Dayton.
This will be ordinance number 24-06, amendment number 596 to zoning ordinance number 5. The following described 3.584 acre parcel belonging to David and Francine Ewing in the town of Dayton is hereby rezoned from General Ag and Forestry District AF to Residential R1 District. The ordinance shall be effective April 16th of 2024 and is being offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on April 1 of 2024.
Motion by Mr. Reddish to approve. We have a second. Second by Ms. Fleming. Do we have anyone here to speak on this? Normally, the chair of the committee would give us information, or the zoning administrator, but the chair of the committee is no longer on the county board. We don't have a new chair yet, so we have the information that's in the ordinance.
I know a little bit about it. It's just,
Ken, if you know, please.
The son of David and Fran is gonna build a new house there. So he just parceled some off from the home farm.
Thank you. Any other questions on it? Not those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Item 21, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Jim and Dawn Berghorn in the town of Aiken.
This will be ordinance number 24-07, amendment number 597 to zoning ordinance number 5. The following described 1.7 acre parcel belonging to Jim and Dawn Berghorn in the town of Aiken is hereby rezoned from illegal non-conforming NC to residential 1 R1 district. The ordinance shall be effective April 16th of 2024 and is again offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on April 1st of 2024.
Looking for a motion on this? Motion by Cooey, second by McKee. New folks, you can make motions too, it's okay. Discussion on this one. I heard the word non-conforming, so I assume this is something we're bringing up into compliance.
That's what I would get from that description,
Okay.
but I can't say for sure.
Right. Anybody else have any extra information or questions?
Just, our zoning ordinance does allow an existing non-conforming structure to retain its form and function for a certain period of time, but any repairs or modifications above a certain value or change to the intended function of the property requires it being brought into conformance with some other aspect of the zoning ordinance. So it looks like this is a property that existed for a while. Now they're wanting to make a residential use of it, and so they're having to bring it into code.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Item 22, reports on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last county board session. You were aware of any? And similarly then for item 23, report on rezoning petitions recommended for denial by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Again, I don't believe we have them. That brings us to item number 24 and reports. And the report we have on the list is the administrator's report.
So for all of you that are new, my name's Candace Pesch. I'm the county administrator. I've been here since July of last year, so just a little over 9 months now. We've made a lot of changes. We're doing a lot of moving and shaking in the county, and a lot of great things are going on and happening. You'll notice in your packet, there is a very large document. It is the Richland County Housing and Workforce Study. We engaged with Southwest Regional Planning on this back in, I want to say September, October-ish. And so it's now completed. So you can go ahead and read through this. It's an extensive document. They did one back in, I want to say 2019, 2018, and they've done some updating. They redid part of it, they didn't redo part of it, but it has a lot of information on where our challenges are in our community with our housing, demographics, needs, all of those things. Troy Maggie from Southwest Regional Planning will be here next month to present to you both on the housing study and our comprehensive plan, because we're working on that as well. So familiarize yourself with this, write down any questions you might have, and he will be able to address those then when he comes next month. So that's the first and foremost, because that's a big document. I've been actually really excited to see this because we know this is a big challenge in our community right now. So we have a lot of hiring going on, as everyone knows. So we have hired a new director at Simons. His name is Mike Hardy. He started yesterday, so he's hard at work. We've had several interviews for the assistant director position. Some yesterday, some today, and I believe one more yet this week. Tomorrow we will be interviewing for a emergency management / ambulance service director. We have 3 strong candidates 4 strong candidates for that position. So we're moving forward with that. We have a few director of nursing interviews yet this week as well. We have our new finance director, Larry Erbs, starting on May 1st. And we're really, really happy and excited to get going on that. The auditors have been here this week. We've been talking with them. I had an opportunity to do a one-on-one with Bill today and discuss our vision for moving a finance department forward, rebuilding our financials, instituting a new financial system, all of those things. And once we get that financial system in, we can start looking at our HRIS and payroll system. So we're really starting to move on this stuff, and it's really, really exciting. Fair storage is coming to an end, so this Saturday, Josh and his staff will be out at the fairgrounds pulling everything out. Everybody that has things stored is going to be coming to pick it all up, and then fair planning is underway, and Lyrica is doing a great job, our new staff out there as well. So yeah, just a lot going on overall. Oh, the Venture Architects, we did have a very, very small committee meeting just with the key stakeholders with Venture to go over just the kickoff documents. So we're starting to have a timeline, develop that timeline for them to be actually on site. They're going to have different teams kind of all working in tandem. They're going to be looking at the outside structures, they're going to be looking at the landscaping, the driveways. There'll be a team that'll be doing the internal, the HVAC, the electrical, and then they'll also be scheduling time to do the interviews with the staff. So that will be firming up that timeline and having another meeting soon. And then we'll be able to kind of give, I know there have been some questions about the public engagement piece. That doesn't come until further down the line. But we're working towards all of that. The wage study piece, we have comparable counties picked out. Those will be coming to you for approval so that we can get moving on our wage study as well. And I think that's enough. There's more, but that's enough for tonight.
All right, any questions from the administrator? Do we have any correspondence?
I have something, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Wendell.
So this is half correspondence, half future agenda items. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Wendell. I'm the corporation counsel. That means I'm the civil attorney for the county. I don't go enforce criminal statutes or anything like that, but I advise this board for risk management, liability prevention, etc. Real quickly, I just wanted to give you the briefest elected officials 101, get you some idea of the things that you can avoid doing to stay out of trouble, because these are ignorance of the laws, no excuse sorts of things. So especially to our new members tonight, you are now elected officials. That subjects you to Wisconsin's open meetings and public records laws. The practical impact of that is any conversation, correspondence, discussion you have that could constitute county business could in theory be requested as a public record. So you will be provided, if you've not already been provided, county email addresses. I strongly advise that you use those if you're engaging in county business. If you text with a constituent or personnel or something, then theoretically that could become a public record as well. So, you know, again, email is probably the best because we have, as you just voted for, the ability to control and archive those. For open meetings, try and limit conversations about board business with your other board members outside of the context of an actual meeting. We'll be doing more formal trainings and getting more into this, but there are things like walking quorums where you need to worry about. All of these potentially carry financial penalties. Violations of the conflict of interest laws are not only a violation of our ethics ordinance, but potentially felony. So, meetings of laws. So online there is our ethics ordinance. You can find that under the rules and strategic planning agenda link for now. And then there's also the rules of board. I would give at least one read through of both of those so that you can understand the expectations of board members. I don't want to see or be responsible for imposing discipline on any members of the board. It's too early for that. If you have further questions, one great resource that I rely on all the time, we belong to an organization called the Wisconsin Counties Association. It's our lobbying / organizational group. They publish a county officials handbook that goes over basics of parliamentary procedure, public bidding requirements, the open meetings and public records law that I covered briefly. And then at the end of the day, sorry for those of you who have heard this ad nauseum, but my philosophy is that it is cheaper to answer a question than it is to defend a lawsuit. So if you don't have it already, I will give you my contact information happily. If you have any questions, concerns, etc., reach out to me, because again, these are things where ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and if you take some action that you can't take back, it makes it much harder for me to do my job. And so I would just encourage you to reach out to me if there's any question whatsoever about something that you're contemplating doing. Again, I have cards on me, but I can also follow up with people. And that about covers it.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Mr. Kilish, is there anything in the stack of papers that we wanted to talk about before people leave tonight?
I don't think so. The large white packet came from Wisconsin Counties Association, which is the organization Mike just mentioned. In there, I believe there's a county officials handbook here, so look through there. Again, make sure to fill out, for you new folks, the new hire paperwork needs to go to Tammy in my office by 4:30 on Friday, so she can get you set up for payroll. We'll talk about per diems and stuff in a future orientation meeting, so we won't worry about that for now. And then make sure you filled out your contact information sheet so I can get the website updated with all your information before you leave.
And these. So for the new hire paperwork, if any of you need assistance, please come into my office or come into Derek's office. I will be in the rest of the week, and I was an HR lady in my prior life, so I can help you. So there's that. Then these are your preference sheets. If you haven't already, please fill these out. The Committee on Committees is meeting tomorrow. So if you have questions on how to fill it out, please ask. We'll help you through it quick before you go. But we want to make sure that we know what your interests are so that we can match you up the best that we possibly can with committees that you will be happy to serve on. So.
One resource from the Wisconsin Counties Association, they have county officials workshops that come up in next month, I believe.
They all have, that's
should be
in
the
here.
packet,
So
right?
you have a letter
There.
like that looks like this. This is regional workshops that are coming up. So that's in here. And then we also have 2 conferences every year. We have in the fall, September, is the annual conference for WCA. A lot of great speakers, chances to meet with other board members and administrators and county staff. Legislators come to that conference, it's great. And then we also have in, was it February?
Yes.
February is the legislative conference, which is also a great opportunity to kind of go and meet people and talk about, you find out we're not alone, that other people are struggling with the same things that we are struggling with, and it's a great way to network, get new ideas, kick around, suggestions. So I encourage all of you to attend those. I'm really trying to get everybody more engaged in that, because we can't complain about not getting things that we want and or need at the legislative level if we don't have a seat at the table. So.
And the workshop closest to us, I believe, is going to be in Prairie du Chien, and it's May.
Oh, that's the
district.
Prairie du Chien is the orientation meeting.
Oh,
The district meeting is.
that's county officials workshop.
Yeah, the cows workshop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are district meetings. The cows workshop is the other one.
The cows workshop is in Prairie du Chien.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that.
Are we
is not-
registering for that individually, or will that be a group thing?
There's individual registration forms, they can come to me and we'll
Okay.
just register them
Yep.
Right, so yeah.
individually. Yep.
And you're not limited to the Prairie du Chien one. If there's a different one that works better for your schedule, you can certainly attend it. But if you want to attend that, fill out the sheet, get it to Derek. It is excellent training. Ingrid, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if this is out of order, but I just have a question about the committee on committee meeting tomorrow. Since we have a, presumed member that's not officially, so Gary Manning, how do we do that? Are we able to put him on where it's presumptively then? Do we have his filled out paperwork?
We do.
right, just wanted to make sure that was.
Very good, thank you. Do we have future agenda items anybody would like to bring forward? All right, well, our next meeting will be a week from tonight, correct?
Correct.
7 o'clock a week from tonight, when committee assignments will be given out, and we will work on finishing up getting ourselves organized for the coming 2 years. Mr. Renish.
I'd like to sit in for Gary Manning tonight and make a motion to adjourn.
Traditionally, Supervisor Manning has always been the go-to for the motion to adjourn, so. Mr. Renish, thank you for that motion. Do I have a second? Second by Glassbrenner. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned, thank you.